Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So it's the big day. The NHL19 Beta is finally upon us. But little did we know that it would be here before this morning. Last year, NHL18 had a closed beta that required signups. But this year, EA surprised us with the beta today, and in an interesting way at that. At 10 a.m., articles were posted that the beta would be launched today on 7/26, and that it would be an open beta complete with threes, eShell drop-ins, versus mode, and the much anticipated 1v1v1 mode, or ones going forward. With the create a player modes, you'll have a chance to edit a character with more options than ever before for their appearance and their clothing and things like that, but also with gear bags that will give you unique clothing. And so far I've spent some time with it. I've played a few games, and I'd like to share with you some of my initial thoughts and from my experience so far with the NHL19 Beta. So let's start with the launch. While I understand the allure of releasing something shortly after it's announced, like a game at E3, coming today, go download it, I don't think this was the best way to launch the beta. EA's guerrilla marketing tactics were very vague, and the initial announcement, at least the one that I read, didn't contain a release time, so some people were guessing is it 5 o'clock, which is when normal updates happen. It actually turned out to be 1 o'clock, so the article came out at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 7 a.m. Pacific, and the beta launched at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love to have more hype surrounding this beta. A lot of hockey fans are looking forward to it. But if you're a casual fan, and if you blinked, you might have missed the news. The fact that it's an open beta is huge news. Everybody gets to participate. You don't need a code, you don't need to find one. But it wasn't really treated this way, which makes me a little nervous about how EA treats NHL compared to games like FIFA or Madden. However, just when you open it up, just looking at the menus is a much needed change. The change of the theme from light to darker colors makes the game look more sleeker and will be an eyesight saver for all those menu streamers out there. The menus also look great, and the versus menu has game stats on the first page rather than the coaching feedback from the last game, which nobody really used anyway. Next, let's move to the create a player experience. There's so many more options that you can choose from, and there's a big improvement to making the perfect player, that you no longer have to select each customization option to view it. If there's one that you really like, you can select it, but if you want to check out more, all you have to do is hover over the selection and it'll actually show it on your player, but without taking away what you did prior. This will let you see all the different options without forgetting which one you liked before, and I actually ran into that a lot last year, so I think that this was a great improvement. But I saw a lot of good in the create a player. I absolutely love the new emotes. There are custom goal emotes where your player will cheer after they score a goal, and if a big save is made by your goalie, your create a player goalie, he'll have some taunt or some line that he'll do. Also, if you have a big hit, they'll have a emote for that too.
No ice tilt, just pure skill. Top cheese all day, baby!
This adds a really silly level of personalization that wasn't in the prior games. There's even an Ultimate Warrior emote, as Tuki pointed out to me, which I absolutely love old school wrestling, so the fact that they put things like this in the game, that's something I want to make sure I get. And they also had voice lines in female voices if you want to create a female character, and also French voices. The new gear is great, and there's a lot of options to choose from. I had trouble navigating the menus myself, but when you get a new equipment badge, you cannot select the item you just pulled and equip it from there. You have to actually go through all the menus. It'll show a star and it'll actually highlight which one you just got. But in games like Overwatch, where I think they do it perfectly, you open up a loot box, and right from there, from that menu, you can select if you want to make it your active skin or your active whatever the case is. But in this, you have to go through all the other menus. However, there's so many options and combinations, and other players are already showing off their rare pulls and telling me about it. And you can even put a palm hat on your goalie helmet, so this is all amazing changes. So the two modes that I played today were ones and versus. I've been so excited for one since I heard about it, and I had a lot of fun with this mode. I've set up in a unique layout, and the theme sets it apart from all other modes. You're playing outside on a pond on half a rink. Deflected pucks go out of bounds because it's just small wooden barriers, and it's a nice touch. And you can lay people the F out with massive hits. It's super fun, and I noticed in this mode that the goalies are super soft. But this is supposed to be a high scoring mode. You can score on them really easily by making a certain move across the net with a backhand, but really you want to be scoring goals in this game, so that's kind of understandable that the goalies will let in a few. There's a stamina bar that doesn't really get explained, but from what I gathered, the more stamina you have, the bigger your hits will be and the quicker you'll get up after being hit. But I think it's going to be a great mode that people really get into, and I've only heard positive feedback from the community about it. Next, I played a few versus games, which is going to be most similar to Hut, which is the mode that I play the most of. And as soon as I started, the first thing I noticed, the jerseys looked way more realistic. They weren't flowy like they've been in some other games. And also the lighting on the ice was much more dynamic than prior games. The game just visually looks better. There are also more details to the arenas. People are actually populating in the upper levels, which wasn't prior games. But overall, Versus is pretty solid. The gameplay feels very similar, and I had less difficulty adjusting to NHL19 gameplay than I did during last year's beta to NHL18 gameplay. But I noticed a few big changes. First, players just overall feel different. Skating as Marchand versus Chara was noticeable based on their size and their speed. Same with their checks. Marchand might bounce off people, but Chara would just destroy people. And that's a really nice touch that you don't really see as much in NHL 18. The biggest change that I've seen though is regarding poke checks. NHL 18 is way more forgiving with missed poke checks. But right now in NHL 19, if you do a poke check and you don't touch the puck, it's going to be an automatic 2-minute penalty. Maybe they want to reduce the dependency on the poke check, but I found myself terrified to use this mechanic because I was afraid I was going to get a penalty, which most of the time I did. I hope that they reduce this. Even if it doesn't land all the time, it just equals the normal player slowdown. So even if you miss, there's still a chance that you can get beat. And it just equals a slowdown and not an auto penalty. I also noticed that shots from the point, sometimes the shot doesn't really have elevation or velocity. I noticed this from wristers and also from slap shots, that sometimes the way you shoot, the puck doesn't just have that force behind it that you're used to in NHL 18. A big complaint last year was skill zoning or letting your AI play defense, and that's something that I didn't experience in the games that I played. I know that they specifically said they're going to change the mechanics to eliminate this and penalize players that tried to do it. So the fact that I didn't notice this at all shows that people are now being forced to play their defense, which is how the game really should be played. Even with these criticisms, I think that this is a very good beta. Even though it kind of snuck up on us, a lot of people are getting involved, people are talking about it, and people who are content creators are streaming and making videos about it and really generating that buzz that I think wasn't there when this initially came out. The new mode ones is impressing everybody, and the gameplay overall is very solid. I hope the poke checks are tweaked, but I think you're able to play a good fair game against another player, which is what we as fans are really looking for at the core of the game. I'm really looking forward to playing more of the NHL 19 beta until it ends on August 2nd. How are you enjoying the beta? Let me know in the comments below. For more NHL 19 coverage, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But for more NHL 18 gameplay all throughout the summer, leading up until NHL 19 in September, tune into twitch.tv/wabaplays, or you can click the link in the description below. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy the beta, and go Bruins. Take care.